who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. You've likely heard this phrase said multiple times around the United Church of Christ. It's one of our denomination's slogans, and it definitely provides that feeling of extravagant welcome. But I wonder, how exactly do you determine where you are on life's journey? Is it your age, your career, the places you've been to? There are so many parts in our lives' journeys that we can try to chart. But Lent provides us with this time to reflect and take an inventory of our faith, of where we are spiritually. So where are you on life's journey spiritually? I suspect most of us don't often ask ourselves that question, but we can try to figure it out. So for example, if I were to draw a line, and on one side it was, I am brand spanking new at this. And all the way on the other, it was, I fully understand the mysteries of God and know everything there is to possibly know. Where would you land? And if anyone on earth believes they've made it all the way to that end, I think you're in for a rude awakening someday. My guess is that if I asked all of us here where we saw ourselves, we'd probably end up in a few different spots all along that chart. But the thing is, our faith isn't some fixed point on a graph. It's constantly changing and adapting as the beliefs that we have interact with the world around us. In fact, sometimes growing in our beliefs can actually make our faith a little shakier in points. For example, here's an interesting thing that they call the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of this, but when I did, I found it really interesting. So, let's say that this line going up and down represents how confident or secure you feel in your knowledge of a particular subject. So we'll put confidence. The line going across this way represents how much knowledge you actually have about that subject. It is not easy to write this way, but you get the drift. Okay, so a lot of the times when we're first new to something, we first learn about something, we tend to feel like we are way up here. We've jumped into it and we go, okay, I think I've got a pretty good sense of what this is that I'm learning about, that I'm grasping. The problem is, the more we start to learn about it, the more we start to explore, that graph suddenly goes like this. And as we keep learning more, we gradually, over time, work our way up to feeling a little more secure, a little more confident about what it is we know. But it's a journey. It doesn't just begin right off the bat and we know all there is to know. I think sometimes it can be like this when we look at how we grow in our faith, when we look at how we feel about our relationship with Jesus. But what I hope each of us will ponder today is what Christ's presence in your life means, regardless of where you feel you are on this graph or the other graph or any graph. Today's reading from John's Gospel features two groups of people, Jews and Samaritans, and they definitely would not have seen one another anywhere near each other on a graph. After returning from exile, the Judean Jews looked down on Samaritans because they viewed them as half-breeds who married outside their own group, who had different religious practices than they did. The Samaritans only observed the Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible, and said they practiced the true religion of the ancient Israelites. And one of their biggest areas of contention was where they believed proper worship was to take place, on the Samaritan land of Mount Gerizim or in Jerusalem. And now this story, as we heard a little while ago, finds the disciples entering into Samaritan territory as Jesus sits by a well to rest and the disciples go off to find some food. It's here that Jesus encounters a Samaritan woman looking to draw some water from the well. And knowing this history now between Jews and Samaritans, we can understand why she'd be a little shocked to have Jesus, a Jew, ask her for some water. But he tells her if only she knew who was asking her, she would have asked him the question, and he would have given her living water. Now, to our modern ears, maybe living water sounds like some sort of spiritual or mystical term. But to the Samaritan woman, that phrase would have simply meant running water from a stream or a river. So, of course, she doesn't really think anything of it when Jesus starts proposing this, other than, where do you intend to get this running water, and what the heck are you going to carry it in? But then Jesus gets her attention. He says, no. If you drink the water in this well, it's just going to run out and you'll be thirsty again at some point. But the water I am offering you will never run out, and you will never be thirsty again. Now, the woman is still taking things a little bit literally at this point, but she's a little more open to his offer. You see, now a connection has been made between these two people from different sides who should be enemies. They begin opening up to one another. The woman starts to get a glimpse at who Jesus is, as he reveals things about her life that there is no way a stranger could possibly have known. And even though her history would have painted her in a bad light to some people, that doesn't stop Jesus from reaching out to her. And so what I love about this passage is it's beautifully written, and the fact that you can see this woman wrestling with her understanding of who Jesus is, of exactly what it is he's offering her, what he means to her. She's looking for answers to religious debates that people before her have fought over for years. And the answer Jesus provides is one of inclusion. He's telling her a new age has begun in which these religious divisions over where and how to worship don't matter. And where that's the salvation that comes from God is for everyone, not just a chosen group. The intended audience of John's Gospel, a mix of Jews and Gentiles, new believers and non-believers, would have certainly picked up on this. And when Jesus finally reveals himself to be the Messiah, the woman rushes off right away to tell the others in her city about this man that she has just met. Now, if I were to put the Samaritan woman on that first chart of I'm brand new and I know everything there is to know, where do we think she'd land at this point? Somewhere to the left? Maybe a little further? She certainly doesn't have all the answers, because even after telling the other Samaritans what just happened, she still asks them, he can't be the Messiah, can he? Even though this woman still has doubts, still has things that she's struggling to understand, that doesn't stop her from running off and telling these people about the good news that she just can't keep inside. All she needs is that little bit of faith that there could really be something to this man they call Jesus. That's all she needs to begin sowing the seeds of faith in other people. This work that the Samaritan woman has begun, the work that Jesus began in her, is what feeds us spiritually. Jesus tells his disciples, I have food to eat that you don't even know about. My food is to do the will of the one who sent me and complete God's work. There's something truly life-affirming and powerful about sharing your understanding and your faith in Christ with someone else It's a reminder that we're part of something bigger than just ourselves. Every time we share, it's a reminder to us of what we believe. That's why I'm up here talking to you. We're exploring our faith together and seeing if we can just push one another a little further down the line to a deeper relationship with Christ. And you don't need to be a Bible scholar or a theologian or a pastor to do this. All it takes is a connection with someone. Look at the words Jesus used when he first met the woman at the well. He didn't start talking above her, waiting for her to understand what he was talking about. He met her where she was at and connected with her using words and themes that she could understand, like water. Now, this doesn't mean the next person you share your faith with today is going to say, "My God, it all makes sense. I get it now. You have made a believer out of me." In fact, Jesus doesn't even tell his disciples to go start from scratch. He says, reap the harvest that others have already worked to sow. So maybe when we talk to some people, our job is simply to be the ones planting seeds in them that might eventually someday help them understand Christ better. With others, our job might be to take what's already been started and help them grow deeper in their faith. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are capable of doing great things and proclaiming the good news of a Messiah who came for everyone, who teaches us that no matter who you are, salvation is yours, that no matter who you are, Christ will always welcome you, that no matter who you are enough. No matter where you are, your faith is enough. No matter where you are, Christ's story is yours to share. No matter where you are, people will know him through you. No matter who, no matter where. Amen.